Ladies and gentlemen, seekers of light and secret knowledge wherever you may be, you are listening to Points of Light Radio, the podcast dedicated to taking you past the apron and behind the closed doors of lodges everywhere. And here is your host, Stan Miller.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. It's wonderful to be back with you here on Points of Light Radio. Hard to believe we're already into the fall, right? And I'm very excited actually to bring you this particular segment of Points of Light Radio because we'll be featuring an organization that I've been trying to feature here for almost a year, right? So we'll be continuing our journey by shedding some light on the Hebrew Order of David. Now, like I said, I've been trying to feature this organization for quite a while here, so I can't wait to get started actually. But I'll give you some insight first. The Hebrew Order of David is an international Jewish fraternal organization which provides their members the opportunity to get involved in a meaningful way in charitable and community projects. The organization serves the community by applying Jewish ideals and values while providing its members with the opportunity for personal development. The Hebrew Order of David was founded in Johannesburg, South Africa in 1904. The members meet in lodges. To join, one must be Jewish, okay? A Jewish male, to be exact. Now, there again, you've saw me feature some other secular organizations here on Points of Light Radio, such as the Loyal Orange Lodge and the Hibernians, right? So again, this kind of makes this unique, doesn't it? Right? Now, why am I trying to explain everything here? Like I said, I can't wait to get started. And here to shed light on the Hebrew Order of David is Lawrence Barris. He is the North American president of the Hebrew Order of David. So let's go talk to this gentleman, and this should be very interesting. But as always, I want to ask, are you still thirsty for knowledge? Are you still searching for the light? Then just trim your lamp and follow me. Mr. Barris, welcome to Points of Light Radio.
Thank you. Good to be
the
here.
North American president of the Hebrew Order of David International.
Yes.
Well, why don't you tell my listeners and viewers about yourself first? Where are you from?
I'm originally from South Africa, from Port Elizabeth, South Africa on the south coast. Got married and left 6 months later with my wife in 1984. Since later of 84, October 84, been in Texas. Got here as soon as I could, and have two wonderful kids, two incredible grandchildren. My mother is here, my sister is here, all my extended family, her kids are here with their kids and grandkids. And we all live very close to each other here in Houston, about within a 3 or 4 mile radius. I'm 64 years old now. I am involved in the industrial real estate business, and that's what I guess keeps me out of trouble.
Oh, well, tell us about the Hebrew Order of David now. What are the qualifications, first of all, to join?
Hebrew Order of David is open to any Jewish male, absolutely non-denominational. I would call us multi-denominational, and our requirements are that if you are not married, that you commit to marrying a Jewish person. And if you are married to a Jewish person. Those are the basic premises of the lodge. It takes a giving heart and a giving, I believe that there are 3 major legs of the stool that we stand on, and that's time, treasure, and talent. And one can give of those 3 good traits, in my opinion, in varying degrees, and we only, I guess, do good for our communities at large, and do good works.
Okay. Now, I'm looking at some of the aims and objectives here. Strengthening the order. They want you. One of your objectives and aims is to foster brotherhood among the members of the order. Now, how do you foster brotherhood? Goes beyond lodge meetings, I'm sure.
Of course, absolutely, yes. There's the brotherhood is just that. It's a fraternity. That's what it is by design. Our rituals are something that is not spoken about outside of our meetings or conducted outside of our meetings. And we seek to assist each other as best we can from within the lodge, but I consider it a greater mission for us to be assisting and helping in the community at large.
Okay.
That to me is the greater function of the lodge.
Now, one of the other goals is to expand the membership base with a particular focus on men aged 25 to 40. Now, why that age group?
Well, the attempt is to get youngsters who today have very busy lives. It's a big challenge getting younger blood into the order. I'm very involved in Rotary International as well, and I will tell you that we're also suffering from the same affliction. The youngsters believe today, and they're not entirely incorrect, that by opening their checkbook, they are doing good work. And that is true. It takes money to do the good work, but they have very limited time. So that age group is very difficult to actually enroll. And they're kids. There's demands at night, in the evenings when we have our meetings. So it's not simple. But notwithstanding that, we're doing well. Our membership is growing nicely, especially in the United States. We'll get into the history of it, I'm sure, in a few minutes, which I'll tell you more about when we do that.
So why would your membership be growing within the United States? Why do you think?
Quite honestly, coming from South Africa, I can actually quite strongly tell you that the fraternal concept in the United States is incredibly strong. Way stronger than it was in South Africa,
Okay.
for instance. And the American male recognizes this fraternal concept, and I think yearns to be a member of this.
Do you think that it has to do with some growing anti-Semitism, shall we say, within the United States or other parts of the world?
It's clearly a major issue, and we confront that absolutely head on. But yes, that's a very, very good point that you bring. I wish it wasn't that way, but truth of the matter is that's the way the world right now.
Okay. Well, one of the objectives and aims is to encourage your members to further their knowledge and understanding of the precepts and traditions of Judaism. Now, how would you do that?
Well, in every lodge, almost, there's none that I know of that hasn't got a rabbi that's a member, or some civic leader, and there's clearly not fair to say that, no, but it's often that we give the rabbi a platform at the meetings, and they can talk about current events, talk about the weekly parasha that's coming up. And yes, we remain committed to that goal.
So he would basically, and shall we say, a Masonic lodge or some other, he would take the form of your chaplain.
Absolutely, quite correct. Yes, which is a position within the lodge. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, one of the other aims is to strengthen bonds between the Jews in the diaspora and the United States as well as Israel. So how do you do that?
Well, again, it's about our bonding and getting guys to join us. It's very, let me say, thank goodness, it's very unusual for guys to leave once they've joined. Yes, the activity levels might be very different from one member to another. I think the usual 80-20% rule applies, where 20% of the work is being done by 80%, by 80% of the work is being done by 20% of the members. But we don't have a minimum requirement for attendance. We do seek participation, and we've done some wonderful projects nationally and internationally.
Okay. Now, I read that the members of the Hebrew Order of David International meet monthly in the spirit of, and maybe you can correct me on my pronunciation, Shovelschraft, to plan and conduct significant range of services. Now, what exactly is that? You can correct me on.
The word is pronounced Chavashaft.
Okay.
Chaver in Hebrew is friend. And
Okay.
We meet, quite correct, we meet monthly with generally a formal ritual meeting that lasts between 30 and 40 minutes maybe, depending if we're initiating new members. And after every one of these meetings, there's what is called a table lodge, where we generally have a speaker, and if not, we have just general camaraderie. There's some drinks, there's some snacks, often a meal, and that's where the Chavashaft comes in. There are lodges, in fact, the lodges here in Houston very often have Chavashaft only meetings, where we don't have the ritual and we just have a informal get together, literally, for want of a better word. It's very basically that.
Okay. Now, does the Hebrew Order of David have a degree structure?
Yes, we do have first, second, third degree.
Okay.
When one attains the third degree, one becomes a worthy brother of the lodge. Before that, one is a brother of the lodge.
Okay. So, and is there a ceremony for each one?
There is a ceremony where the first and second degree are entry-level degrees, where there is a ceremony to elevate to those degrees. And the third degree is somewhat separated, where only members that are in possession of the third degree may attend a meeting of other brethren in the third degree.
Okay. Now, does the Hebrew Order of David have a women's auxiliary?
No.
Okay.
We probably wouldn't exist without our females supporting us, but there's no official position for the females in the lodge.
So where does your lodge meet, your particular lodge meet? What is...
Our lodge meets at the Jewish Community Center right here in Houston. We have our various pieces of furniture that we set up on a monthly basis and break it down. And generally each lodge meets at a synagogue, maybe one or two synagogues actually double down with the HOD, and literally we become the men's club for the rabbi that's running that synagogue.
Okay. And is there a large Jewish community? You said you're in down there in Texas? Do you?
In Houston, yeah, there's a very large community.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And what do you feel that the Hebrew Order of David has done for you?
It's, for me personally, it's been an incredible source of satisfaction for serving our community. I'll give you just two of the many service projects. We've got a place here called Ashel House. It is run by the Chabad, and it is actually a bed and breakfast, which is run by the Chabad and is adjacent to the medical center. And its primary residents are people from all over the country, Jewish or not Jewish, that stay there at a very discounted rate. In fact, they don't have to pay at all, to support family members that are undergoing generally cancer treatment at MD Anderson, which you might have heard of. It's a very famous cancer hospital that we have here in Houston, specializing in cancer. And at the Chabad House, they produce, obviously, industrial catering quantities of soup, and cookies, which are always available for their residents to participate in, to partake of. And we go there on a Sunday, a predetermined Sunday, and we help them cook this food. On a Sunday morning, it's a probably 2 or 3 hour project. The other project that has been of incredible meaning to me is our gravestone project, where we have discovered that there are many Jewish graves in cemeteries without markers. And for reasons that originate to the Holocaust, where there are 6 million of us that don't have markers, we have undertaken a project to place markers at no charge to the family if they're here, or no charge to the synagogue or the cemetery. We do this with the consent of the people that run the cemetery to provide the names, if they wish to provide the names, to contact the next of kin to confirm that it's okay, if they're still around, to place a marker on this grave. And there is now more than, I think we're just about to hit 200 of stones that we have unveiled at Jewish cemeteries where no markers previously existed. And we're working through the cemeteries one by one to complete the cemetery, so to speak, and make sure that all graves are marked.
And what do you think it could do for others who are thinking of joining or looking for a club or some sort of an organization to join?
It's the most wonderful, satisfying thing to do, to join an organization like this, as long as one has a community-oriented heart. That's what it takes. And a person without a community-oriented heart, I guess, is not the kind of person that would be attracted to this organization. For Rosh Hashanah, that's coming up in a few weeks' time, for New Year, we're doing roses for Rosh Hashanah. We are putting together bouquets of roses that the community is buying and paying for, but we're doing it at a place called 7 Acres, which is an elderly old age home over here, not predominantly Jewish at all. And in each residence unit, they will get a little vase with a rose or two in it.
Well, Mr. Barris, I certainly appreciate your time today, and all the best to you and the Hebrew Order of David, sir. Shalom.
Thank you. Thank you so much. May I just give you a quick resume of the origination of the organization?
Absolutely.
Okay, won't be long. Started off in England as the Hebrew Order of Druids, going back to the very late 1890s. A small group of guys actually left England and came to South Africa, and it was the Hebrew Order of David was then formed. They changed the name in the very early 1900s. At its highlight, at its peak in South Africa, we had just under 50 lodges. But with the demise and the immigration of Jews in a big way from South Africa, for many reasons, this has dropped dramatically in South Africa to, I believe, 8 or 9 lodges that are left over there. And a lot of South Africans came to America. The idea and the concept grew here in 2009. It was started in Atlanta, and we now are in Atlanta, Houston, Dallas, Boca, Toronto, and San Diego. And very proud to have 10 lodges here in the States, and we're looking to grow more. That's a very brief summation of what has happened in the last, 130 years.
It's been amazing that something like that, even in 14 years, the growth has been explosive. That's wonderful. You're doing something right.
Yeah, I believe so. And most folks, I think, enjoy the benefits of what it does and the service that it provides to the community.
Well, there again, I appreciate you, your insight on this and shedding some light on this for us. And all the best to you, sir. Shalom.
Thank you very much. And again, please accept my apologies for being so late.
Not a problem, sir. Have a good
Not the way I am. Good luck to you, and thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. There you have it, brothers and sisters. Lawrence Barris, shedding some light on the Hebrew Order of David. I love bringing these organizations to you, but there's always a different feeling I get when I'm finally able to feature an organization like I did today that I've been chasing for a year. There's just something about it, right? By the way, I wasn't trying to finish up too quickly there at the end. He wanted to add something. If you notice, I don't put a whole lot of editing into these segments, right? I 9 times out of 10, I bring you the interview or the conversation as it took place, right? There's not a whole lot of spit and polish to Points of Light Radio. Put it this way. Some would say we should have it. I just say that we're being genuine here, right? But this was a wonderful organization. They're again kind of unique. It's an organization that is secular by nature, such as some of the others, as I've said before, I've brought to you. I love the fact that he gave us a little bit of history on it, on this organization, and the great work that you see here. They're not as popular as some of the other organizations that we bring you here on Points of Light Radio. But there again, as I've often said, that's part of what Points of Light Radio is here to do, is to raise that profile a little bit, right? If there's, if we've accomplished anything in our time here on Points of Light Radio, we have raised that profile. And I will say this, there are people who belong to some of these organizations now who are joining and who have joined because they've seen my podcast. And I'm quite proud to say that, right? I'm not going to say which organizations they belong to, but yeah, they've gone to. But yeah, I'm proud to say we've done that. And this is an organization I would love to visit again. I would love to have Mr. Barris back here on Points of Light Radio to shed further light on this organization. I can honestly say we're not done with the Hebrew Order of David yet. They have chapters in different parts of the world. I do want to get in touch with some of those chapters. We'll be swinging back to this one, definitely. But that's all I have time for today, brothers and sisters. But before I go, I want to remind you that this podcast is available on both YouTube and Spreaker. Please share, like, and subscribe when viewing Points of Light Radio on YouTube. You can follow Points of Light Radio on my Facebook page at facebook.com/Points of Light Radio. My Twitter handle is at PO Light Radio. You can see the link to my Spotify channel as well as my Points of Light Radio store. Brothers and sisters, it's always an honor fellowshipping with you and my guest. But until we meet again, just step into the light.